This is Antony Rotunno, and this is the first in a new short series of interviews with musicians in Madrid. I'm just going to backtrack slightly. Last year, 2015, in the spring and summer, I did a series of 10 interviews with basically my friends, but some musicians who are known among the expat scene in Madrid, which tends to centre around Triskel Tavern in Malasaña, Madrid. Anyway, we did 10 and then kind of got to a point where we felt like we were regurgitating everything. So I took a break of about a year. In fact, my interviewee today, I did interview him earlier this year. And unfortunately, I had one of those moments. I don't know if you've ever seen those TV series where someone says, "What does this button do?" And then they press it and something explodes. Well, I pressed the wrong button and I'm afraid the interview disappeared into the ether. But here we are again. I'm just going to set the scene. It's Saturday, October the 21st. You can see I've done the research, yeah. It's a rainy...
Oh, it's the 22nd.
22nd, all right. And it's a rainy Saturday afternoon in Madrid, so nice time to stay inside and sit down and talk. So today we've got Abdel Dakhil. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. All right. We're going to go through musical origins and all that good stuff, and then usual format. We're going to have a couple of songs at the end. We'll have a live song, and then we're going to include one of your recordings at the end. So let's start with musical origins. So when did you first start playing music?
I first started playing music fairly early. When I was, my parents bought me a drum set really early. It was made out of paper, so it broke quite quickly. And after that, in the 5th grade, I was introduced to the trumpet. I really wanted to play the saxophone, but my dad, he decided that we should actually go for the trumpet. And I played the trumpet throughout for maybe about 7 years. And meanwhile, I was introduced to the electric guitar while I was in jazz band playing the trumpet, and I was really into like the alternative rock, like Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, that kind of music, and it was, I really loved that music so much, and I was like, I want to learn how to play this stuff on the guitar. So I learned how to play the guitar, and those are the songs I learned like I was obsessed with. So I learned how to play those songs first. And shortly after that, I was like, I want to make my own songs. And so I wrote my own songs.
What age are we talking about? What did you say?
I think the first time I wrote a song, I was 14, 15.
And when did you first play?
About
the same time?
Yeah, about maybe like a year before.
So is that like early 2000? How old are you, bro?
I'm 23 years old.
23.
So it's about 10 years now.
I can't remember 23, yeah. 10 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So I learned how to play the guitar, and I learned how to write. I try to write songs. Now they're becoming better than they used to be. But my first song was about. I really wanted this new cell phone, and it was being auctioned on eBay. And the song was called "Running Out of Time." Running out of time. Running out of time. It was like a serious song. But yeah, that was pretty much it. And then I just. I go to open mics sometimes in California, and when I arrived to Madrid last year, I just started going to open mics all the time, and I got invited to play at gigs. So that's pretty much my musical background. I was in several bands around the.
I wonder who first had the idea for an open mic, because it's such a great idea.
Yeah, I wonder who did.
I mean, if there's anyone who's not familiar, I'm sure you are, but basically there's a list of people, and everyone gets 3 songs, 2 songs, 10 minutes. So it's a good chance to try out new stuff. And of course, the people who come there, they get to see like 15 different artists in like 3 hours or whatever. So yeah, whoever came up with if anyone would like to tell me who first had the idea for an open mic, fair play to them. All right. What other musical inspirations have you got? Who would you say are your absolute favourites?
My favorites, so I always appreciate my roots. I know they're quite recent, but anyway, I love jazz. I love jazz. I was when I started playing in jazz band in middle school. That's when I was like, wow, music's awesome. But before that, it was just like elementary school music, and then jazz band really set a tone. I really was obsessed with, the rhythm section in jazz, and I really love Jimi Hendrix. I really love B.B. King and the Beatles, and I really love like just rock, like old school rock and roll and blues. I love John Mayer, and musically I think he's wonderful. Like he's a wonderful guitarist, amazing songwriter, and I love pop music. I really love all music. I would say the music that I'm not a fan of is just music that doesn't make you react in a way. It's just kind of flat, boring music. But
do you think I think music's got a bit too clean these days, like with all digital recording and stuff?
Yeah, I would say it's music's become very industrial and quite. It's just overly produced now.
Yeah,
and that's why I appreciate new artists that really you can tell like they have like an organic feel, and you can tell.
Yeah, maybe Jack White, someone like that.
Yeah,
I mean, you can tell he's a '60s.
Yeah.
Or a '60s fan or whatever. He's quite a purist.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the first time you heard Jimi Hendrix? Like what songs? Or?
The first time I heard Jimi Hendrix.
Because I would call that quite a revelatory moment, like for anyone really.
I believe the first time I heard Jimi Hendrix, I was 13 or 14. I remember I was in ninth grade, and my friend gave me his book of CDs, or his like big like album of CDs.
Yeah.
And there was a live Jimi Hendrix album, and I remember hearing like Star Spangled Banner. It was the album was called Voodoo Child, and there was like one or two, part one, part two.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing his version of Johnny Be Good, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, I need to learn Johnny Be Good. As soon as I heard Jimi Hendrix play, I was like, I need to learn how to play this too, and that's how I learned Johnny Be Good.
Yeah, I don't think actually many people have heard his version of Johnny Be Good. I think it's one from Berkeley, or I can't remember which concert it is. But it's absolutely amazing to take what he did and then take a Chuck Berry song. And I mean, I love Chuck Berry, but Jimmy just takes it somewhere else. And of course, all the stories about him, guitarists will know all this stuff, that his thumb was actually almost the same size as his first finger. And he had the ability... Really? Yeah, your fingers are very big, so...
yeah, but
his thumb was disproportionately large. But he had the ability to do like little riffs on the top 2 or 3 strings, whilst twiddling on the higher strings, but and also amazing rhythm guitarist. Like he spent years as a rhythm guitarist, just slugging his guts out for no money.
He was for Little Richard.
Yeah, Sam Cooke, Little Richard, Isley Brothers, all those legends. Yeah. Okay, I think you've already told me your first song. How many songs have you written, more or less?
I would say like in total, not including songs I haven't finished, but including songs I don't play anymore. I would say about 60, 65.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But, so you haven't been messing around, do you?
I mean, half of those songs I don't really play anymore. I just stick to the current times, But about that much.
What's your favourites? Or are there any songs that have like a story attached to them or anything?
I think that my songs, they start off with like something happening in my life and something that influences me, but then I kind of expand on that and see like, okay, well, how does the person, if the song is inspired by a person, how would that person feel? And I'll be like, okay, well, this person feels like this way, and I know you feel this way, sort of thing. But an example of that would be I wrote a song called Maggie's Always Sleeping, and the song is about someone, that, was feeling a little sick and decided to take, cold medicine. And eventually they couldn't hang out, day after day because they were sick still. And they were just, went to go visit them and they were still sick and they were taking the cold medicine, like feeling really sleepy. And so I was like, I don't want them to, I want them to hang out. So I just picked up a guitar, played an E minor chord, very dark, depressing, and then I made it like a drug song about a person that's, always sleeping, always crying, always, just abusing drugs, and it turned into that. So sometimes it could be like that, or sometimes it could be just about a particular moment. Like one of the songs is called Spend the Day that I'm going to play later for you guys.